Hi everyone, I'm Fee, and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up. And I actually had a really great reading month. I read a lot of graphic novels, which is not my norm, but it was nice. It was nice for a change. I'm just gonna get into it. The first book that I read was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I didn't know anything about this story going into it. I knew it was kind of a summer-based story. This book was not what I expected. I'm not going to tell you too much about... No, I'm not going to tell you anything about the plot because I didn't know anything about the plot, and I think that was better. Basically what you need to know is it's about a kind of rich family, and they spend every summer on the grandpa's private island, and yeah, and so I thought this is going to be a story about spoiled rich people, and yeah, I changed my mind. Yeah, I gave this book 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, I don't know. It was good. Have some tea. Oh, yeah, that's good. The next 2 books that I read were mangas that I received from NetGalley, and I read them on my e-reader, and they were manga adaptations of Les Miserables and Pride and Prejudice, and I really liked them. The Les Miserables I gave 5 out of 5, and the Pride and Prejudice I gave 4.5 out of 5. The Les Miserables, that one was just like phenomenal. They stayed so true to the original story. Yeah, and they did it really well with condensing a 1,200 page story into a 350-ish page manga. They kept like all the basic plot lines and everything. It was just fantastic. And the Pride and Prejudice one also was quite faithful to the story. That one I found, that one was more, well, I mean, I don't know what traditional anime is, but that one was more, had more cutesy, like love, hearts, flowers in random places. I don't know what you call that style, but yeah, so sometimes that was a bit much for me, but it was still very good adaptation. So yeah, I would recommend picking those up if you get a chance. And they also have other classic stories in that line as well. They are the Udon classic manga series. Then the 4th book that I read was Day 21 by Cass Morgan, which is the 2nd book in the 100 series, and I gave that one 3.5 out of 5. I quite enjoyed it. It was a good continuation of the story. The characters were lacking in development. That would be one complaint that I have. The character of Glass, I kind of feel like she was useless in the 2nd book. Like, her story didn't provide any really good information. It would have been nice in this one if they had just kept it to the kids that were on Earth. But yeah, the action moved along well. It was a quick read, and I am looking forward to reading the continuation of the story. The next book that I read was Frozen by Melissa De La Cruz and Michael Johnston. I actually got this book from NetGalley for a review as well, and then I found it at my library, so you know me, I prefer to read physical copies, so I just decided to get it and read it that way. Whitney at Witty Novels did like the best review of this, and basically is how I felt. She didn't like this book at all. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as bad as she did. So the story is set in a dystopian future, but it has also elements of fantasy, which I found interesting. Everything just felt too rushed. The characters didn't have any depth, and there was just something niggling at the back of my head I couldn't put my finger on it. There was just something that was bothering me about it. And Whitney pointed this out, that this is basically the same story as Under the Never Sky. And when she said that, I was like, yes, that's what it is. And like the whole time, like in the first chapter, it's talking about them finding the blue. And I'm like, well, that sounds a lot like the Still Blue from the other series, Under the Never Sky. The last book is called Into the Still Blue. And then, let's see if I can find it. This font is exactly the same as this font. And then I was like, okay, guys, did you really just want to rip off Veronica Rossi? So, yeah. And like, oh my goodness. The last scene in this book, the last battle scene, is so anticlimactic. It is so short. I think it's like 3 pages. Like, what? It's like yeah. I would give this book 3 stars because it's not a terrible book. I sound like I think it's terrible. It's not terrible. It's not the worst book I've ever read. Some people probably really like it. Yeah, just for me, it was too rushed. The characters were very shallow, and it was just way too similar to Into the Still Blue, or Under the Never Sky for my taste. But I don't know. I'll probably pick up the next book if I see it at my library, just to see if it continues to be the same as Under the Never Sky or if it changes. Yeah. If you've heard the synopsis and you're interested in the world, then pick it up. I wasn't expecting too much, but I was curious about the world in it, so I decided to get it. It was okay, but it was not my favorite. The next book that I read was Flink by Doug TenNapel, and this is a short graphic novel. I think I read this in half an hour. It is a story about a Sasquatch and a boy. The way that Doug TenNapel describes it is a story about a boy and his Bigfoot. Yeah, it's just kind of a cute, quick story. It's kind of heartfelt, and I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for just a quick graphic novel to read, I would recommend this if you can get it from your library. I don't know if it's worth owning, but if you really like the story, then yeah, but this was good. Okay. Oh. Then we come to Rooms by Lauren Oliver. I give this book 0 stars. This is just a pile of garbage. I don't even know where to begin. This book is terrible. Ugh. It's just smut. That's all it is. I had to stop reading at page 60. It was just made me feel dirty and wrong. I am not one to abandon books, but this book was just terrible. I'm going to put it down now because you don't need to look at it anymore. But it was just, there are no good things that I can say about this book. It's just awful. Like, if you want to read something that's just absolutely disgusting, then go ahead. But, yeah, zero. And that was my last chance for Lauren Oliver. I read Before I Fall. I liked that one. I read Delirium. I liked that one. And then every other book, 3 other books after that, were getting worse and worse and worse. And this is just absolute garbage. Like, if I had bought this book, I would throw it in a fire, I think, is what I would do. So, yeah. I'm done with you, Lauren Oliver. That was your last chance. We're done. So then, to get out of that terribleness that was that book, just gonna try to erase it from my memory, I picked up The Warrior Heir by Cinda Williams-Chima, and this book was great. So that was pleasant. I didn't know too much about the story. I knew it was a fantasy story. And I really liked it. It was great. It's a story about a boy, and I don't often read YA in male POV, so that was a nice change, and I liked the characters in the story. I felt like there was good character development, and I liked the supporting characters as well. Like, you feel connected to them as well, and you often in these kind of stories they introduce side characters in the beginning and then they just kind of go away. Like, these friends also had a character development, and like there was actually depth to them, and I like that. So, and it was good action paced. I really liked it, and I like the characters a lot, so I am definitely looking forward to picking up the next one. I think there's 5 books out now and a novella, so yeah, I'm looking forward to picking them up. I give this book a 4 out of 5 for sure. Yeah, so that was a lot better than Rooms. The last book that I read was Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic novel memoir. It is about a young girl, Marjane, or Margie. She's born and living in Iran in the late 1970s to early 80s, during the Iranian Revolution. And this is actually quite a political book, and some of it went over my head because I'm not super into politics in that sense, and I especially had no idea about the history of Iran and stuff. That was 8 to 10 years before I was born, and I don't recall learning about it in school. Anyways, yeah, so this was actually like very educational for me, and so it just basically goes over her life from childhood to when she's about 22. That's what it covers, and yeah, it was great. It was very engaging to learn about that culture and what the history of it and what was going on from someone's view that actually lived through it. I really appreciated that. And so yeah, if you're looking for educational, entertaining graphic memoir, autobiography, then this would definitely be for you. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. That's all the books that I read in October. Have you read any of these books? If you have read Rooms by Lauren Oliver and you liked it, I do apologize for my ranting. That was just my opinion. If you liked it, then good for you. I didn't like it. I thought it was garbage, but I made that perfectly clear already. Have you read any of these books? Did you like them? What are your thoughts? Are there any books that you could recommend to me that are similar to the ones that I enjoyed and not the ones that I didn't enjoy? Yeah, so leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I'll be back soon with my November TBR, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Dun, dun, dun. What am I doing here? Yeah. Yum. Alright. Calm down.